In the state of Louisiana, one of the most devastating hurricanes of the year tore through the land, leaving behind nothing but destruction. The winds ripped homes apart, uprooted trees, and turned streets into raging rivers. When the storm finally passed, only ruins remained, and the survivors were left counting their losses. Among them was 13-year-old Emily Carter. She had been at home with her family when the hurricane struck. The deafening roar of the wind filled the air, shaking the walls around them. Her father had held her tightly, and her mother had whispered, "Don't be afraid, my sweet girl." But then, everything went black. When Emily woke up, she was trapped beneath heavy concrete debris. Her parents were nowhere in sight. Her body was freezing, and a sharp metal rod had pierced her leg, sending waves of pain through her. She wanted to scream, to call for help, but her voice barely came out. She was alone. As time passed, thirst, hunger, and fear consumed her. On the first day, she screamed for hours, praying someone would hear her, but no one came. Darkness crept in, her vision blurred, and her breath grew weaker. Then, in the distance, she heard voices. Rescue teams were combing through the wreckage, searching for survivors. With every ounce of strength left in her, Emily cried out, "I'm here. Please, help me." But her voice was too weak. Another day passed. Hope was slipping away, and exhaustion took hold. But deep inside, she refused to give up. She had promised her mother she would one day become a great singer, and to fulfill that dream, she had to survive. By the second day, Emily's voice was nearly gone. Hunger gnawed at her stomach, her body ached, and every breath felt like a battle. Then, suddenly, she heard footsteps. "Is anyone here?" a deep voice called out. Summoning every last ounce of her strength, Emily gasped, "I'm here. Please help me." The rescue team finally spotted her, a fragile, dirt-covered figure buried beneath broken concrete. They rushed toward her, desperately working to free her from the wreckage. But it was not an easy task. A thick metal rod was lodged deep into her leg. Every movement sent searing pain through her body. Emily clenched her fists, whimpering, but she refused to close her eyes. Just then, a familiar face leaned down and met her gaze. Garth Brooks, the legendary country music star, had come to help the hurricane survivors. And when his eyes met Emily's, so full of pain and fear, his heart clenched. "Hey, little lady, what's your name?" he asked gently. Emily shivered. Emily." Garth gave her a warm smile. "That's a beautiful name. Now I have a deal for you. You can't fall asleep, okay? We're going to talk about music. If you sing your favorite song for me, I promise we'll do everything we can to get you out of here." A weak smile crossed Emily's lips. "Okay, then, Amazing Grace." And there, trapped under the rubble, her voice, frail but determined, rose above the wreckage. Garth's eyes burned with unshed tears as he softly sang along with her. Minutes turned into hours. Emily's body grew weaker, but Garth never let go of her hand, whispering encouragement to keep her awake. Finally, after 40 excruciating hours, the rescue team lifted Emily from the debris and rushed her to the hospital. But her journey was far from over. This was only the beginning. Emily's eyes fluttered open, greeted by a blinding white light. A faint humming filled her ears. She could hear her own breath, shallow and uneven, but her body refused to move. For a fleeting moment, she thought she was still trapped under the rubble. She blinked rapidly, trying to make sense of her surroundings. The suffocating darkness was gone. This was different. A hospital. Everything around her was a sterile shade of white. A soft hospital blanket covered her fragile body. She tried to wiggle her fingers. Pain shot through her leg. Was this real or just another cruel dream? Then a familiar voice broke through the haze. "Welcome back, little lady." Emily slowly turned her head. Garth Brooks. He was leaning forward in his chair, watching her with a gentle smile. But behind that smile, there was something else. Sadness. A lump formed in Emily's throat. An unbearable fear crept into her chest. "My mom and dad, where are they?" A heavy silence fell over the room. The warmth disappeared from Garth's expression. He gently took Emily's small hands in his grip firm but tender. His voice was deep, steady. They're not here anymore, Emily." Emily's heart stopped. No, No, that's not true. Suddenly, the terrifying memories crashed over her like a tidal wave, the wind howling like a scream, glass shattering, walls collapsing, her father's arms tightening around her, her mother's final whisper, "Don't be afraid, my sweet girl, I love you." Emily gasped, as if the air had been stolen from her lungs. Tears welled up in her eyes. Her lips trembled violently. "I saw them. One last time. My mom held me. My dad tried to protect me. But then everything fell apart." Garth squeezed her hand gently, nodding. "I know, Emily. I know it's hard. But you're not alone. We won't leave you." Her tears wouldn't stop. She had tried so hard to be strong, to push down the pain, but now it consumed her completely. "I have no one left. What am I supposed to do?" Garth took a deep breath. Slowly, he leaned closer, his steady eyes locking onto hers. "Trust me, Emily. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to get through this together." Emily stared at him, caught somewhere between emptiness and hope. And at that moment, in the deepest part of her heart, she realized something. Maybe, just maybe, life gave second chances, and from that moment on, Emily's life would never be the same. During the weeks Emily spent in the hospital, Garth Brooks never missed a single day. He sat by her bedside, told her stories, cracked jokes to make her laugh, and even sang to her when she couldn't sleep. He was a stranger at first, a familiar face from TV and radio. But day by day, he became something more. But no matter how much they laughed, reality loomed over them. Emily had nowhere to go. She had lost everything. One afternoon, as the rain gently tapped against the hospital window, Garth made a decision. "Emily, you need a home, a real home, and I'm going to help you find one." Emily blinked at him, uncertain. "Why? Why would you do all this for me?" Garth smiled, but there was something heavy behind it. "Because everyone deserves a second chance, and no one, especially not you, should have to go through this alone." True to his word, Garth arranged a place for her to stay, covered her education, and found her a music scholarship. One evening, as they sat on the porch of her new home, Emily turned to him, eyes brimming with emotion. "You became my second father," she whispered. Garth swallowed hard, fighting the lump in his throat. He gently ruffled her hair and smiled. "And I'm proud to be." That night, as Emily looked at the stars, she realized something. She had lost everything. But she had also gained something she never expected, a new family. Years passed, and Emily grew into a strong, determined young woman. She never forgot her parents, but she honored them through her music. After years of training and Garth's unwavering support, her first concert finally arrived. Backstage, she clutched her mother's old bracelet, took a deep breath, and stepped onto the stage. Spotlights warmed her face as she scanned the crowd. There he was, front row, Garth Brooks. She smiled. "This song is for the man who changed my life, my second father." As she sang Amazing Grace, Garth's eyes filled with tears. Her dream had finally come true. Emily wasn't just standing on stage. She was standing in the life she had fought so hard to build. And her biggest fan, the man who had saved her, watched with pride, knowing that their journey had led to this.